Shorty from the east side,
make it bounce.
shorty from the west side,
Make it bounce.
shorty from the south side.
Make it bounce.
What about the north side?
Make it bounce.
Shorty from the east side.
Make it bounce.
Happy holidays, happy holidays. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the diamondkshow.com, ONFIRE-broadcasting.com. So I am not sure how much time you have spent in a school lately, right? Cell phones are a constant issue that administrators and teachers are faced with. And the cell phone restrictions in Baltimore County schools has been successful so far. They have this pilot program going on in Baltimore County. So the purpose of this is to get cell phones out of the hands of students during class time in Baltimore County. And I can tell you, as someone who's been in some schools in Baltimore City during this school year, in Baltimore City, this is a major issue, and I'm sure in Baltimore County it is the same. So the program is in place in more than a dozen schools, including Towson and Hereford high schools. Some students can use their cell phones during lunch. Otherwise, the phones are supposed to be out of sight. This is so important. The distraction of the cell phones, and some parents are going to say, I bought the cell phone so I can reach my child. You can call the school. They can call to the classroom and have the student come to the office or check on whatever is necessary, right? But it is the students that are using the phones during class time. Teachers are not supposed to be spending precious time engaging in this back and forth with students over their cell phones. So some districts across the United States, the school districts, have actually implemented or plan to implement their own policies on this subject. So I am anxious and curious to hear your thoughts. Should students be allowed to have cell phones in school during class time? Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show, or online, djdiamondk at gmail.com. So the President Joe Biden, yes, Biden is still president. For those that seem to forget, Biden is still president until January 20th, somewhere along that. So there has been this uproar in politics in DC about the shutting down of the government. And it seems that we are always here. It seems that it is never a point where we are not faced, because of Republicans, because of Democrats, not faced with a government shutdown. And we were on the brink again. Seems like we're always on the brink. And Democrats have to bail out Republicans in this regard. So we were facing a government shutdown deadline. The Senate rushed through the final passage early today of a bipartisan plan. That means Republicans and Democrats had a negotiation on a plan that would temporarily fund the federal operations, disaster aid, and why are we always at this point? So the current plan that was signed by President Biden today kicked the can down the road until March. So this is not gone away forever. It will be back. But the final passage of this bipartisan plan that would temporarily fund federal operations and disaster aid was signed by President Biden. House Speaker Mike Johnson, I'm going to say current because, that at any point in time that could go by the wayside. But Mike Johnson insisted that Congress would meet their obligations and not allow federal operations to shutter ahead of the Christmas holiday season. Thankfully, that would have been a disaster. It's a disaster at any point in time, but especially during the Christmas holiday. And the day's outcome, it was unclear where it was going to go, because you had President Musk and the Vice President Donald Trump. I mean, because that's what it appears to be. But in all seriousness, Trump has got to get Elon Musk in order. So Trump doubled down on his insistence that he wanted the debt ceiling increased during this deal. That did not happen. That was crazy talk. But it is what it is. The House approved the new bill overwhelmingly, 366 to 34. The Senate worked into the night to pass it, and it did 85 to 11. Of course, Democrats had to help because Republicans just don't know how to govern. At midnight, the White House said it had ceased shutdown preparations, but Vice President Harris and President Biden both cut their holiday plans short because they were in preparations of the government being shut down. Thankfully, that did not happen. And again, Democrats saving the day because Republicans just don't know how to govern. And a lot of folks are just not prepared for everything that their election of Donald Trump will bring. Billionaires can write off the entire cost of their private jets, their yachts. But teachers can only write off up to $300 worth of school supplies for their classroom. These are the types of things that having billionaires in the ear of the president is just not a good thing. It is not a good thing. Elon Musk was hoping for a government shutdown because he wanted it to be shut down from now until Trump got in office. Trump wanted to raise the debt ceiling to cut taxes for his wealthy donors. The GOP in Congress, Republicans, they're just a hot mess. There's no other way to describe it. They are a hot mess. Democrats, thankfully, held strong. We did not close down the government because they were able to come together. Democrats just averted a government shutdown. Musk and Trump failed to get what they demanded. They were trying to push around, intimidate the Republican caucus. They were unable to do that. Republicans threatened to stop paying millions of workers, and Democrats once again showed that they are the only adults in the room. I mean, what else is there? They're the only adults in the room. So on. Now, the Pentagon said a few days ago that there was a mistake. Can you believe that? They made a mistake that 2,000 American troops are actually in Syria, more than twice the number that officials had cited for months. So if the Pentagon is saying that there are not 900 but 2,000 American troops, then there's probably close to 4,000. Why the Defense Department delayed disclosing the number is unclear. I guess they didn't want people to get riled up. Why the truth would rile them up in this instance, I do not know. Major General Pat Ryder, the Pentagon press secretary, told reporters that he became aware of the additional troops on Thursday morning. The Major General became aware of the additional troops on Thursday morning. They are in Syria on a what he called temporary basis. He said to support what he called the core official deployed forces participating in the Pentagon's mission to keep Islamic State forces from reconstituting. If that's what the mission is, I think that all Americans would support that. So why not give the truth? Why this cloak? This cloak over the transparency that needs to be shared with the American people. In a time like this, a time like today, we cannot afford to have anything like that going on. General Ryder said that the increase in the number of troops was unrelated to the fall of President Bashar al-Assad to the rebel forces that happened earlier this month. Of course, but mysteriously, it comes out right at the time when we are, having some type of action about this turnover in Syria, as we are trying to deal with the aftermath of this occurrence. This is when it comes out that the number that we've been given for months and months, oh yeah, that's not even that's not true. That's not the actual number. How ironic it is at this point in time that it comes out that we have been, I hate to say lied to, but what else can we say? What else can we call it other than lied to? No need for that. Come on, guys and girls. Let's be upfront about what we are doing in Syria and abroad. You can level with the American people. Your man Diamond K, of course, in here, the diamondkshow.com, onfirebroadcasting.com. I am here 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. daily to give you my take on things. And before we get out of here, another story that we've been talking about on social media, and I definitely wanted to talk about it now. The top uniformed police officer in New York City has stepped down, resigning yesterday. And I don't know, but there's a lot going on with this. There's a lot going on with this. And with this type of controversy that we're facing, I mean, he has the credentials now. He could be an appointee in the Trump administration. Why do I say that? So feds have been probing claims of sexual misconduct and gross overtime. And during this, the top uniformed police officer in New York's police department has resigned amid allegations that he demanded sex from a subordinate in exchange for the opportunity to earn extra pay. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch accepted the resignation of the chief of department, Jeffrey Madry. So this happened last night, effective immediately, according to an emailed statement from the police department today. So John Schell, the department's chief of patrol, will take over as interim chief of department, and Philip Riviera will assume Schell's duties as head of the patrol division, the police department said. So the department is not giving a lot of details. They have declined to comment on the specific allegations against Madry, other than to say it takes all allegations of sexual misconduct seriously and will thoroughly investigate this matter. The attorney for his accuser, Lieutenant Epps, says that the move was overdue. The attorney, she says through her attorney, that this should have been done a long time ago. And this has been years in the making, this kind of behavior. This is not a shock for anyone who understands how things work in this department. On Saturday, Epps filed a complaint against the city of New York with the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, also known as the EEOC, claiming that Mandery engaged in a quid pro quo sexual harassment and coerced her to perform unwanted sexual favors in exchange for overtime opportunities in the workplace. So Epps, the person making the accusations, she holds an administrative post in Mandery's office. And when she finally pushed back at Mandery's demands, he retaliated by claiming she was abusing overtime, prompting the department to launch a review. And that's how we got to where we are. So Sanders says that his client was then suspended without pay, despite putting in her retirement notice earlier this week. So there's a lot going on here. Epps was the department's top earner in fiscal year 2024, earning more than $400,000 according to reports. More than half of that is overtime pay. So there's a lot going on here. There's abuse of overtime. And whether she is actually a victim, whether she was caught and is now saying this, something needs to be investigated here. So we talk about the police department and back the blue and all that kind of stuff, but this level of corruption cannot go, just by the wayside and just be ignored. So a spokesperson for the department naturally declined to comment on this complaint, but Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office said that they are investigating. These are serious and disturbing claims that allegedly occurred in the NYPD headquarters in Manhattan. Eric Adams, speaking of corruption, alleged corruption, a former police captain said at an unrelated event today that the allegations against Mandery were extremely concerning and alarming. You don't say, Eric Adams. He also said that the department was conducting a full review, and that was something that the New York Post reported. So Mandery's attorney did not respond to a request for comment on the various allegations. In a statement to the New York Post, who really broke this whole scandal, just broke it, he dismissed Epps' claims and called them completely meritless. Completely meritless. So he's denying these things. And this is going to be a back and forth. Now, hopefully, if these things are true, this high-profile resignation should mark the beginning of a cultural shift to eliminate that persuasive environment of harassment and retaliation that exists in so many of these good old boy networks, and the NYPD long rumored to be exactly that. So a former officer has also claimed that Mandery coerced her into a years-long affair while he was her supervisor, though that case was dismissed by a state judge last month, also reported by the New York Post and others. So this guy is a lightning rod for controversy and very serious allegations. Mandery joined the police force back in 1991 at the age of 20 and rose through the ranks to become chief of patrol in 2021 before being promoted to chief of department last December. The chief of department is charged with overseeing the department's crime-fighting strategies, quality of life initiatives, and operational plans, according to Tish's announcement today. The chief of Patrol manages department's largest bureau, which consists of 15,000 uniformed police officers and 3,000 civilians. So this is a big deal. We're going to continue to follow this. I think that where there is smoke, there is fire. There is a lot of fire and a lot of smoke here. And hopefully we will get to the bottom of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads at The Diamond K Show. Of course, make sure you're following us on YouTube, youtube.com/djdiamondk. Need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow with another episode of the show. And happy holidays to you and yours. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe at youtube.com/djdiamondk.